On our 10th wedding anniversary, my wife, Clara, didn't come home. In the early morning light, a post from her secretary appeared on my social media feed. The year I turned 22, I met you. I hope every year for the rest of my life starts and ends with you. The accompanying photo was of two hands, fingers intertwined. The matching ring tattoos on their ring fingers were impossible to miss. I stared at the familiar red mole on one of the hands, a tiny mark I knew as well as my own. Calmly, I typed a comment below the picture. May you grow old together. A moment later, my phone rang. It was Clara. What's with the sarcastic comment? She snapped, her voice sharp with irritation. It's just a sticker. Honestly, Ethan, you're a grown man. Acting all jealous is just pathetic. After she hung up, I took off the wedding band that hadn't left my finger in a decade and dropped it into the trash can. Clara arrived home just as I was finishing packing all the couple's items, matching mugs, photo frames, his and hers towels, into a garbage bag. Her brow furrowed as she scanned the living room. Why is so much stuff missing? She asked, her tone laced with displeasure. I tied a knot in the bag before looking up at her. After so many years of marriage, it's about time we cleared out the useless things. Her frown deepened. Useless things? Just because you're making a little money now, you've become wasteful. The most useless thing in this house is you. I didn't reply, simply continuing my work. After taking the bags out, I started towards the bathroom to wash up. Clara blocked my path. First, you need to make me a suit. Here are the measurements. She handed me a piece of paper with a list of data: height, weight, chest, waist. They say a tailor's eye is a ruler. One glance at the numbers, and I knew. This suit was for her secretary, Leo. All right, I said. Are the measurements precise? Clara was busy texting, and she answered without thinking. They're perfect. I measured each one myself. She stopped abruptly, her head snapping up. She opened her mouth to explain, but I cut her off. As long as the measurements are correct, it should be ready in about 3 days. I turned to go to our bedroom, but she grabbed my arm, her eyes narrowed. Don't you have anything to ask? Aren't you going to ask who this suit is for? I looked at her, my expression placid. Does it matter who it's for? She said nothing, her gaze dropping to my left hand. Where's your wedding ring? I glanced at the pale, untanned circle of skin on my finger. It gets in the way when I work, I said, the lie tasting like ash. I took it off. My eyes drifted to the tattoo on her right ring finger. The skin around the delicate script was still faintly red and irritated. Her tattoo sticker. She noticed where I was looking, and a flicker of panic crossed her face. I looked up and saw her squaring her shoulders, ready for a fight. And a wave of bitterness washed over me. Since Leo had appeared in our lives, our home had become a battlefield. We fought constantly. Small skirmishes and all-out wars, always over him. At first, Clara would patiently explain that they were just colleagues. But as the fights became more frequent, she simply stopped engaging, leaving me to rage alone. Her cold silence made me feel like a madman. I pulled my gaze away. That sticker is quite nice, I said peacefully. Her defensive retort was instantaneous. It's fake. You just don't understand things young people like. Don't be so. She trailed off, her eyes widening as my words registered. What did you just say? I blinked. I said the sticker is quite nice. I paused. Is there anything else? If not, I'm going to wash up. Clara shook her head, looking dazed. No, nothing. Right? I added, turning away. I need to work on some design sketches tonight. I'll sleep in the guest room. I closed the guest room door before she could respond. After 10 years of marriage, this suit would be my final gift to her. The next morning, I woke up to a message from my master. I've signed you up for this year's designer competition. Don't be angry with an old man for taking matters into his own hands. You've been holed up in that little studio for years. It's time you saw the world outside. Your talent shouldn't be trapped in such a small space. A deep sense of guilt washed over me as I read his words. I had been with my master since I was a boy. He treated me like his own son, and I had always sworn I would make a name for myself in the design world for him. But then I met Clara, and my life's ambitions shifted to marrying her and starting a family. He had urged me to enter competitions many times, but I had always politely declined. Every time he saw me, he had the same look of disappointment, of a master watching his best student throw it all away. But seeing that I was content, he would only sigh and grumble a bit. He said that as an elder, all he wanted was for me to be happy. But the disappointment in his eyes was something I could never bear to look at. Thank you, master. I'll do it, I texted back. Moments later, he called, his voice trembling with excitement. Are you serious? You're really going to compete? I chuckled, trying to calm him down. You old man, don't get so worked up. Yes, it's true. I'm going to give it my all. He immediately launched into a long list of instructions and advice, his familiar, rambling lecture transporting me back to the days before my college entrance exams. He had been just as fussy then. By the time he was finished, half an hour had passed. Before we hung up, I promised to come over for dinner that night. He was delighted. It was 10 o'clock by the time I was dressed. When I walked into the living room, I was surprised to see Clara still on the sofa. Usually, by this time, she'd be at the office, having breakfast with Leo. Must be nice sleeping alone, she commented, her brow furrowed. Getting up this late. Her words made me realize that for the first time in a long time, I had slept soundly through the night. In the past, I could never sleep well when she wasn't there. A small smile touched my lips. It was actually quite comfortable. The color drained from her face. I shouldn't have waited for you to have breakfast, she said through gritted teeth. I raised an eyebrow but said nothing, heading to the kitchen to make myself a coffee. When I came out, she instinctively reached for the mug. You want some? I asked. Her face stiffened. No, she snapped. Who wants anything from you? She stood up to leave. As she opened the door, she paused, her voice strained. I booked a restaurant for tonight, so you can't say I forgot our anniversary. I'm having dinner with my master tonight, I said, typing a reply to my lawyer. You should go with Leo. I won't be able to make it. Clang. She threw her keys on the floor. Ethan, what the hell are you playing at? Why are you being so passive-aggressive? Is it really such a big deal that I missed our anniversary? It's just one day. Are you going to die? Clara had always claimed to be a straight shooter, someone who didn't care for sentimental holidays and couldn't be bothered to remember dates. But ever since Leo had joined the company, she celebrated every occasion with him, even the anniversary of their first meeting. I had understood then. It wasn't that she disliked anniversaries. She just disliked celebrating them with me. I'm not playing at anything, I said calmly. I already have plans with my master. My repeated refusals sent her into a rage. If you don't come tonight, don't ever expect me to have a meal with you again. Faced with her fury, I no longer felt the familiar panic, the desperate urge to apologize and beg her forgiveness. A moment later, the front door slammed shut. I finished my coffee and went to my studio to begin working on Leo's suit. The day this suit was finished would be the day Clara and I were finished, too. At lunchtime, I reflexively opened my chat with Clara. The screen was a sea of green bubbles, my messages, with no replies. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard, then stopped. I used to message her every day, on the dot. Have you eaten? What are you doing? Are you busy? She rarely responded. Once, after she'd had a small argument with Leo, she had come home and lashed out at me. Ethan, do you have too much free time? Messaging me all day long. Don't you have a life of your own? At the time, I thought I had annoyed her by texting too much. I only learned later that she had simply taken out her anger with Leo on me. I locked my phone and went back to work. I was so engrossed that I didn't notice the sky outside had darkened until my master called to ask when I was coming over. On the way to his house, I saw Clara's profile picture pop up on my feed. I refreshed the page. It was a photo of her and Leo. She rarely posted anything. On our 8th anniversary, I had asked her to post a photo of us together. She had scowled. I have so many clients on here. It would be unprofessional. In 10 years of marriage, she had never posted a single picture of me. But a picture with Leo was perfectly fine. I silently liked the post and went back to editing the suit's design. During dinner, my master asked when I was going to bring Clara to see him. Apart from a single visit right after we were married, she had never come again. I always told him she was busy with work. Worried that I was resentful, he would try to console me. It's good that Clara is busy. Being busy means she's earning money. But last year, for Leo's mother's birthday, Clara had driven 5 hours just to have a meal with her. When I had asked her what was going on, she had accused me of having a filthy mind, saying she was just attending a family dinner as a subordinate superior. I looked at the table, laden with all of my favorite dishes, and a sour feeling rose in my chest. I'm planning to divorce her, I said softly. My master paused for a moment, then simply pushed a plate of food towards me. Eat more, he said. When I got home, Clara was sitting in the living room, her face a thundercloud. I looked at her in surprise. Whenever she was with Leo, it was rare for her to be home before 1 or 2 in the morning, if she came home at all. What took you so long? She demanded. I slowly took off my shoes. You've come home at 2 or 3 in the morning before without saying a word to me. A flash of guilt crossed her face, but she quickly became defensive. That was just over time. Leo is so young, and he's working for me. I have a responsibility to him. I didn't argue. I didn't get angry at the mention of his name. I just laughed softly. Yes, you're right. My easy agreement seemed to throw her off. After a moment, she just urged me to get back to work on Leo's suit. I just nodded. It will be over soon, I said. Both the suit and us. I worked for 2 straight days and nights, finishing the suit right on schedule. I had just lain down to rest when Clara called. Ethan, bring the suit to the West Tower restaurant. Now. She hung up before I could reply. I sighed, packed the suit, and took the divorce agreement with me. When I arrived, I saw them sitting at a table by the window, laughing and talking. To anyone else, they would have looked like a couple. Ethan, you're here, Leo said, greeting me with a wide, happy smile. Clara leaned back in her chair. Did you bring the suit? This kid has been pestering me for one of your custom designs. Leo scratched his head, feigning embarrassment. Clara, I'm 22. She just smiled indulgently. Yes, a 22-year-old kid. He shot her a playful glare, then turned to me. Did you really make a suit for me? Let me try it on. I handed him the suit bag, and he disappeared into the changing room. Just as I was trying to figure out how to bring up the divorce, a sharp cry came from inside. Clara shot up and ran to the changing room. A moment later, she dragged Leo out and stormed over to me. I looked at her, confused. What's... Slap. The sting of her hand across my face was sharp and sudden. Ethan, she hissed, pointing a trembling finger at me. I never knew you were so malicious. Hiding a needle in the clothes. Look, you've scratched Leo. I really thought you had gotten over it. But I never imagined you were plotting something so vile. I looked at the thin red line on Leo's arm. I didn't do it, I said flatly. Clara sneered. If it wasn't you, who was it? You've always been jealous of how well I treat Leo. I just never thought you'd stoop this low. I met her gaze, my own eyes filled with a profound disappointment. Clara, is that really the kind of person you think I am? She faltered for a second, then her expression hardened again. Don't give me that. Before she could finish, I placed the divorce agreement on the table between us. Clara, let's get a divorce. What did you say? Clara demanded, her brow furrowed. I looked at her, my voice steady and firm. I said, let's get a divorce. Behind her, a triumphant smirk spread across Leo's face. Clara glanced at the papers, then let out a sarcastic laugh. Ethan, what new trick is this? You think threatening me with divorce is going to work after you did something wrong? Apologize to Leo right now. A grown man playing such childish games, it's pathetic. I didn't do it, Clara, I said, my resolve hardening. And I'm not playing games. She knew I wasn't one to lie about my actions. My repeated denials seemed to plant a seed of doubt. It really wasn't. Before she could finish, Leo cut in, his voice trembling. Clara, it's just a small scratch. Please don't fight with Ethan over something so trivial. His words were all it took. Her eyes turned to ice. Ethan, you made the suit. If it wasn't you, who was it? Are you suggesting Leo did this to himself? I glanced at Leo's provocative expression and suggested we call the police. The moment he heard the word police, he grabbed Clara's arm, his voice breaking. Ethan, if you don't like me, I can resign. You don't have to do something so dangerous. Someone could have been seriously hurt. Clara immediately turned to comfort him. I took out my phone to dial, but Leo lunged forward and snatched it from my hand. Ethan, I'm not pressing charges. There's no need to make a scene. I held out my hand. Are you scared? Give me back my phone. Leo looked at Clara with pleading eyes. She glared at me. Ethan, what has gotten into you? Making threats after you've done something wrong? Apologize to Leo immediately. If you don't, we'll get a divorce. She said the word divorce with an air of absolute certainty, as if she held all the cards. In the past, I would have crumbled, would have apologized, maybe even begged her not to leave me. But now, I simply pushed the signed agreement towards her. Then sign this. She stared at me, her brow furrowed. Sign it, I urged. I have other things to do. Her face flushed with anger. She ripped the papers to shreds. Ethan, don't push your luck. Do you really think you can force my hand with this? I looked at the confetti of our marriage scattered on the table, genuinely confused. Why was she so angry? Wasn't this what she wanted? Every time we fought, she would say she regretted marrying me. Now that I was offering her an out, shouldn't she be happy? I looked up at her flushed face. I only brought one copy. I'll mail another one to your office in a couple of days. She stared at me, trying to discern if I was bluffing. When she realized I was serious, her anger only intensified. Ethan, are you seeing someone else? Is that why you're so insistent on this? I couldn't help but laugh. Clara, I'm not you. I don't cheat. Her frown deepened. Don't talk nonsense. I treat Leo like a little brother. The familiar excuse was so tired, so worn out. There was no point in arguing anymore. I'll mail you the divorce papers, I said, and turned and walked away. I went home and started packing. Clara had bought this house after her business took off. The day we moved in, she had snuggled against me, her voice filled with a rare guilt. Ethan, you've worked so hard for us. This is just a temporary home. I'll get you a much bigger one someday. During the early days of her company, she had faced countless setbacks. Whenever she was ready to give up, I would tell her that pilgrims in Journey to the West had to endure 81 trials to get their scriptures. We're just getting started. I believe in you. We had a painting of that story hanging in the center of our living room. She said it reminded her of my words and gave her courage. But the first time Leo came to our house, he said he liked the painting, and she gave it to him. Just like that. I had tried to stop her, but she had just called me stingy. I should have known then. I should have known he was different. It was because he had a slight resemblance to her first love, the one who had passed away. I had noticed it the first time I saw him, but I had foolishly believed I could win. I had forgotten that the living can never compete with the dead, even a pale imitation. I didn't take anything from the house that she had given me. My suitcase contained only my personal belongings. After leaving the house, I took my things to my studio. The competition was in a week, and I still didn't have a design. I had lost my inspiration. I walked through a park at sunset, trying to find a spark. For so long, I had been taking commissions, churning out trendy designs to keep Clara's company afloat. I hadn't created anything that was truly mine in years. I don't know how long I walked, but my phone eventually rang. It was Clara. Ethan, she ordered. Leo wants your kanji. Make some and bring it over. He said he forgives you. You should learn to be as gracious as him. Are you finished? I interrupted. She paused. What do you mean? My patience was gone. Clara, I was serious about the divorce. She scoffed. Ethan, everyone knows you treat me like your own life. Are you really going to give up on your own life so easily? It was true. Everyone knew I was hopelessly in love with her, that I had given up my own ambitions for her. I had no boundaries when it came to her. Perhaps it was my unconditional love that gave her the confidence to hurt me so recklessly. I treated you like my life, I said calmly. But you are not my life. Fine, she yelled. Be at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. Whoever doesn't show up is a dog. 10 o'clock. I agreed, and she slammed the phone down. I looked up at the sky, and in that moment, I knew what my design for the competition would be. After a sleepless night, I looked haggard. I didn't bother to clean myself up before heading to the Civil Affairs Bureau. I waited for a long time, but Clara never showed. I texted her. When are you coming? I'm busy. A few minutes later, her car pulled up. She got out, arm in arm with Leo. It was a deliberate performance, meant to humiliate me, but I didn't care anymore. She, however, wasn't finished. Ethan, you look terrible. Your eyes are all red. Did you cry all night? She smirked. While there's no line, why don't you get on your knees and beg me? Maybe I'll change my mind. It's not like you haven't done it before. Even though I was done with her, hearing those words from the woman I had loved for more than a decade still hurt. But it also reaffirmed my decision. I was glad to be escaping this toxic mire. I smiled back at her. Let's cut the crap and get this over with. I'm on a schedule. I walked into the building without looking back. As I signed my name on the papers without a moment's hesitation, I saw it in her eyes. She finally believed me. But her pride wouldn't let her back down. She signed her name, her face a grim mask. Outside, as I was waiting for a taxi, she approached me. Why? I glanced at the tattoo on her finger. That's a pretty impressive sticker. It hasn't faded at all. Her face stiffened. So what if I lied about that? You're throwing away more than 10 years of our relationship over one little thing. Her self-righteous tone was astounding. A relationship built on lies. I asked, what's the point in holding on to that? Clara, I never should have gotten involved with someone who still had someone else in her heart. When I had first confessed my feelings to her, she had told me about him, the one she could never forget. I had been so confident. No, I had said, and I'm confident I can make you forget him. How loudly my own words mocked me now. I didn't blame anyone but myself. What do you mean? She asked, her voice cracking. I mean I regret it. I said, my face a blank canvas. I give up, Clara. You can be with whoever you want. She stared at me in disbelief. In her mind, I was the one who cherished our relationship above all else. Now, I was the one saying I regretted it. You promised you would always be with me, she whispered. Now you're deserting me. I let out a soft, tired laugh. Clara, I'm only human. My heart is made of flesh and blood, too. There's nothing more to say. Let's just part on good terms. My refusal to bend enraged her. She was so used to my compliance that my change in attitude was a shock to her system. Fine, she sneered. Let's part on good terms. After that day, I threw myself into my work for the competition. I designed a dress on the theme of parting, a final farewell to my relationship with Clara. Though I didn't see her, news of her life kept appearing on my social media feed. She and Leo were officially together. She had even given him the house we used to live in. He sent me a picture of the deed. I'm 22, you're 32. What makes you think you can compete with me? The things you could never have, I got with ease. Seeing the house, so full of memories, being given away so carelessly, stung. But I pushed the feeling aside and focused on my design. The day before the competition, my dress was finally finished. That same day, my childhood friend, Lily, returned to the country. The first thing she wanted was hot pot. The city felt impossibly small that night. As we arrived at the restaurant, I saw Clara and Leo. When she saw me with Lily, her face darkened. She strode over, her voice dripping with sarcasm. So this is the reason you wanted a divorce? And here I was, feeling guilty, thinking I had actually hurt you. Looks like I was just being sentimental. I was too tired to engage with her nonsense. Lily, who knew the whole story, shot me an exasperated look, then turned to Clara. So, you're the woman who wants to have her cake and eat it too? You're not all that special. Ethan, your taste is really something else. I couldn't argue with her last point. Clara, who had never been quick with words, just glared at me. Are you just going to stand there and let her insult me? I think she's telling the truth, I said, then turned to Lily. Do you want to go somewhere else? She refused. Throughout the meal, I could feel Clara's eyes burning into my back. The night of the competition, when they announced my name for the second prize, I couldn't believe it. Standing on the stage, seeing my master and Lily in the crowd, it finally sank in. I had won. I gave the trophy to my master. I'm sorry I disappointed you, I said. He just smiled. You've broken free from your past. That's more than enough. 3 days later, I saw Clara's company in the financial news. The city's leading new energy enterprise suffers losses in the tens of millions due to a poor decision by the newly appointed general manager. I was confused. I didn't know her company had a general manager. A friend called and filled me in. The new GM was Leo. I had no opinion on the matter. It was Clara's choice, and it had nothing to do with me anymore. But the next day, she was standing outside my studio. She looked exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. There was a flicker of something in her gaze that looked like regret. What do you want? I asked. She hesitated. Ethan, I want to eat your seafood congee. I was stunned. It was her favorite dish. I had spent months learning from different chefs to perfect it for her. But because Leo was allergic to seafood, she hadn't eaten it in years. Now, hearing her request, I found that I couldn't even remember the recipe. I've forgotten how, I said honestly. That's impossible. You learned it specifically for me. Are you still angry? I'm sorry, okay. Hearing the word sorry from her was a shock, but that was all it was. I'm not angry, I said calmly. You must be, she insisted. Otherwise, why would you have divorced me? She held up her left hand. I had the tattoo removed. Leo tricked me into getting it. It wasn't my choice. I looked at the dark, scarred skin on her ring finger and laughed. So what if it's been removed? The scar is still there. No, it's not like that. I was just confused for a moment. If you don't like it, I can get your name tattooed there instead. Clara, I said, my voice sharp. Don't you feel disgusted saying that? That scar is a constant reminder that you cheated on me. No, I didn't. I may have had a mental lapse, but physically, I was only ever yours. I just sneered. What if I got a matching tattoo with Lily? Would you feel the same way? Lily had always been her imaginary rival. My words hit their mark. Her face changed. See? You can't even stand the thought of it. So how can you expect me to forgive you? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. If there's nothing else, please leave, I said. After that day, it was as if she had been possessed. She started calling and texting me constantly, leaving homemade food outside my studio. The sky is so blue today. Did you see it? The new movie is supposed to be great. Should we go see it? They were the same messages I used to send her. 3 days later, Leo showed up. What did you say to Clara to make her kick me out of the company? He demanded. Have you considered that it might be your own incompetence? I asked. Impossible, he spat. Clara said she loved me. You must have done something behind my back. Before I could reply, Clara walked in with a lunchbox. She frowned when she saw Leo. What are you doing here? He stared at the lunchbox. Is that for him? Clara ignored him and called security. Get out. I don't want to see you again. As the guards dragged him away, he screamed, Clara, you said you loved me. How could you do this to me? She looked at me, her eyes searching my face for a reaction. When she saw nothing, the light in her eyes died. Ethan, why aren't you jealous anymore? If you're done, you can leave too, I said. I'm busy. She left the lunchbox on my desk and walked out. Just then, Lily burst in, demanding barbecue. You can wait, I told her. I'll go with you when I'm finished. From the doorway, Clara's voice was shrill. Why is she allowed to be here? Lily smirked. Because Ethan is designing my wedding dress. The color drained from Clara's face. You're getting married? She stammered. I didn't deny it. The life seemed to drain out of her, leaving an empty shell. I went back to my work, and when I looked up again, she was gone. The day before our divorce was legally finalized, Clara was in a car accident. The driver was Leo. After she thought I was marrying Lily, she had blamed him for everything, suing him for the company's losses. He had confronted her, and she had humiliated him. In a fit of rage, he had waited for her after work and run her down with a truck. She died on the way to the hospital. And just like that, my past truly became the past. I believe that someday, I will meet someone who will not betray my heart.